Hello everyone, my name is Gayatri Bajpayee. The presentation is basically for the introduction about the physics. It will be helpful for the student who are studying in standard 11 CBSE board. According to the syllabus of the board, physical world and the measurement coming under the unit 1. The presentation covers the chapter 1 physical world. Okay, now let's start. What is physics? Physics comes from a Greek word which means nature, and in Sanskrit it called it bhautiki. Whatever happening in our surrounding, we can observe that. Just like how the rain is falling, how the earth is rotating around the sun, how the moon is rotating around the earth, and also so many things like how the tide is coming in sea. So likewise, scientists has observed about these things and they made some theory, and with the experiment they proven that theory and they made some laws. Okay, now for better understanding I will tell you a story. Everybody knows about the game chess. Suppose two persons are playing the game. Who knows the rules about the game? Another person is observing that. After the number of times of observation, the person also started to play with the person who know the rules. At the time of playing, it may possible the first move of the person can be correct. But after some moment, when other person is playing or other person is giving some movement, the person who was observing, who don't know the rules, can be surprised. So likewise, this complete nature is a big chess game. And nature know the rules. But scientist who is making the theory, who is observing, they made some theory. It may that theory is correct or wrong. They made some experiment and made the law. By these law also after some time it may they surprise the scientist. We cannot say what laws, what theories has made it always correct. It means some person can come and say no. Likewise, it cannot be happen. Now we will know the scientist who has observed about the nature and made their own theory, and also they have proven and also made some laws. Okay, first example, Sir Isaac Newton. Everybody knows about him. He was sitting under an apple tree and he has observed one apple has fallen down from the tree to the ground, and then by this observation he made the theory and also the law of gravitation. What is law of gravitation? Newton has described if there are two bodies which are having some masses and apart from each other with some distance, then what attraction force is acting towards each other. This attraction force is proportional to the multiplication of these two bodies and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So, as he has observed, the apple is falling down to the earth. It means apple and earth, these are the two bodies. So, apple and earth moving towards the center of mass of these two bodies. And when you are in earth, then you are observing that the apple is falling down to the earth. Similarly, he has observed that moon is rotating around the earth. Moon is not falling down. Why? According to this gravitational force, it should be fall down. Then he has calculated this gravitational constant. What we have found here, F equals to G m1 m2 upon r square. So he has calculated this G value for the earth and moon also. And he has found the same G value he has found for the moon and earth also. It means there is something else by which the moon is not falling down to the earth. It's not only having the attraction force, something extra is there. So what is there? So moon is already having some initial velocity. Due to this initial velocity, it's rotating around the earth. And the same concept we are using for the Satellite. Satellite is also rotating around the Earth by using the same concept. And similarly, the Earth is rotating around the Sun. So this all observation and all concept has given by the Newton by using law of gravitation. This is already happening in our nature. And now the next, electricity and magnetism. It is all around us. For example, transports. Transports is runs through the electricity. All the vehicles that we are using, aeroplane, train, ship, motorbike, all the vehicles is run through the electricity. Even though communications, all mobile, laptop, computer, everything is run through this electricity only. And just we can observe the rainbow in the sky. So color of this rainbow comes through the electromagnetism. It's a part of electricity and magnetism. And also the light, the photons that are coming, this is also a phenomena of electromagnetism. Even our nerve system, our body can move this due to this electricity only. And these atoms, all the chemical reactions is happening through the electricity only. Now we are coming from where it's come. What is the history of this electricity? So the electrons means is amber in a Greek. In 600 BC, they have observed, they have taken one stone, it's amber, and they are rubbing in a cat's fur. And this amber can attract some feathers, some light things. So they have observed something is there, some attraction is there due to the rubbing that we can see in our daily life. So many things in a scale we are rubbing, and then it can be attract some small pieces of paper. In a hair we can rub the scale, and then it is attractive. So that we can see, and lots of people have done so many observation that some glass rod can attractive type of force, and iron rod is having some repulsive type of force. So how they are attracting and repulsing? So they have seen there are two type of, it means charges are there. One is positive, one is negative. If positive and negative are together, then it will attractive type of force. And if both the charges are same, I mean positive or negative, then they will start to repel. So what is the unit of this charge is Coulomb. So Coulomb actually has given the exact formula of this electric force, electrostatic force, because these charges in a static condition. So they have given a formula in which there are two charges, either they are positive or negative. If both are positive, then it is repulsive type of force will generate, and one positive and another is negative, then attractive type of force will generate. So they have told electrostatic force is proportional to the product of the charges, these charges, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance, and the proportionality constant is Coulomb's constant. So he has given this formula electrostatic force, and this Coulomb's constant is named in the name of Coulomb. This is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon, which is equal to 8.988 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. So you can see this formula. This is similar like the law of gravitation. I mean gravitational force is proportional to the product of masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So here it is electrostatic force which is proportional to the charges, product of the charges, and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. So we can just compare with these two charges. Electric force comparison to the gravitational force. One major difference is there. Gravitational force is always attractive type, but electric force is either attractive or repulsive. It depends upon the type of charges. If both the charges are same, then they will repel. If one is positive, other is negative, then they will attract. So I am taking one example how much electric force is different than gravitational force. So mass of proton is 1.673 10 to the power minus 27. Electric charge of proton is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 Coulomb. And we know the formula of electric force and gravitational force, which is here given here. So I have taken and putting all the units here, and Fe, I mean electric force for the proton, for the same mass, same proton, is equals to 10 to power 36 times of gravitational force. I mean electric force which is acting on the proton is 10 to power 36 times greater than gravitational force acting on the proton. So why I have done this experiment, why I have done this calculation? Because as the law of gravitation, Newton has told, everything is having under the gravity. So in each and every mass, it is having some gravitational force. So according to that gravitational force, nothing can be able to stand. Even we cannot able to walk, because gravity is there. Then due to the gravity, we have to crumble. We have to go to down, fall down. Why we are able to stand, why we are able to hold a book in our hand. So everything is done due to this electric force, because this electric force is more powerful than gravity. Then only we are able to walk, otherwise we are not able to walk even. So that's I have wanted to told. So in our surrounding, in nearby surrounding, if we are seeing, then electric force is more powerful than gravity. But if you are going in a universe, then in universe gravity is more powerful than electric force. And the Coulomb has given the proper theory of this electric force, and also he has introduced about the friction. What is exactly the friction in between the two matter, how it's coming, and the sliding friction and all. As we have studied, electron has come from Greek word amber. Similarly, from where the word magnetic has come from. In early age, Greece has found a natural rock which is having the property to attract some ferromagnetic material like iron. So this rock is found in the area of Greece which is called Magnesia. So the natural rock was called magnet in the name of this city, Magnesia. Now just I want to discuss about electromagnetism, from where the word has come. What happened in 1820, a Danish physicist and chemist named Hans Christian Ørsted, he was doing one experiment in his experimental lab. That time he has noticed that when he turned on the electric current in a wire, a compass needle that was on another experiment changed its position, and when the electric current was turned off, the compass needle turned to its original position. It means due to this electric current, something is changing, something is creating. So he has given the name, this magnetic field is there. So for this experiment, which is happened by chance, accidentally this experiment has happened. So by this experiment, he has published one paper. After a week of publication of his paper, Ampere has studied and appreciated. Now Ampere also has done one experiment, which was not accident. He has taken two parallel wires, in which current is flowing. What does it mean of current? Current is charge per unit time. He observed that when the current in these two parallel wires are in same direction, then they started to attract to each other. I mean these wires coming closer due to the magnetic field between them. And when the electric current in opposite direction, then they start to repel to each other. So he has given some law, 1 Ampere law. The integration of B dot dl equals to mu naught I. This law is having some limitation. This law is valid when electric flux is constant, which is not changing with respect to the time. If it is changing, then its rate of change has to be added to the normal current on the right hand side. So he has given, and by his name only, the unit of current is ampere. Now Biot-Savart law, they have also told about electromagnetism, how the magnetic field is generated due to electric current, as Ampere has described. Biot, Savard, by the help of Gauss, who was a famous mathematician at that time, they have derived a formula for calculating the magnetic field. So this formula is more general in comparison to Ampere's law. Why? Because this formula is valid when electric flux is not constant. I mean electric flux is changing with respect to the time. Then also we can use this formula. For this formula they have taken a wire of length L, and what in this wire I current is flowing and magnetic field is generated. So he has taken a small element of this wire dl, and whatever unit vector from this dl element to that magnetic field, that is r. So by this experiment and by the derivation he has derived this formula. So this magnetic field is equals to mu naught upon 4 pi integration of I dl cross r unit vector upon r square. So the unit of this magnetic field is 1 Tesla. 1 Tesla is equals to 1 Newton second per Coulomb meter, or in other words we can say 1 Newton per ampere meter. Now the Faraday's law of induction. This is a basic law of electromagnetism who predicts how a magnetic field interacts with the electric field to generate electricity or electromotive force. This phenomena is called electromagnetic induction. In this figure you can see a coil is there and magnet is moving. So when this magnet is moving through this coil, electricity will generate. So this electromotive force or electricity is generated. This electromotive force is depend upon the number of coils and the rate of change of this magnetic flux. What is magnetic flux? Magnetic flux is the product of magnetic field and the area perpendicular to that magnetic field. Actually, this Faraday's law, this equation run our economy. The applications of Faraday's law are generator, electric motor, transformer, electric bell, and there are a number of applications of Faraday's law. Maxwell's electromagnetic equation and theory. In electromagnetism, what we have studied, Coulomb's law, Faraday law, Ampere law, Biot-Savart law, all the law. This Maxwell, these four equations is the combination of these all law. Actually, these four equations are heart of this electromagnetism. Nowadays, people are using these four equations for anything calculating in electromagnetism. So these four equations are, which is then called as the name after Maxwell's equations. First is the Gauss law. Del dot E equals to rho upon epsilon. This del dot is showing divergence and cross is showing curl. So this is actually mathematics, because the mathematics is the language of physics. We are having some feeling, but we cannot describe. If we don't know the language, how to describe this? So we can say the mathematics is the language of physics. So here in the first equation, the Gauss law, del dot E equals to rho upon epsilon. Rho is the charge density. In this equation, they have told the electric field in a closed surface. One closed surface is there, electric field, that is equals to the net charge inside that closed surface divided by epsilon. It can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be zero also. If the net charge, it means in a closed surface some charge is there, some positive charge, some negative charge. If positive charges are greater than negative charges, then the electric field in that closed surface will be positive. If positive charges are less than negative charge, then the electric field in that closed surface will be negative. If they are equal, then electric field in that closed surface will be zero. So that is told by Gauss's law. That is first equation. Then second equation, Gauss's law of magnetism. In that equation, del dot H equals to 0. They have described there is no magnetic monopoles. I mean magnetic monopole doesn't exist. Because if you are taking a closed surface, then there should be equal positive, equal negative for the magnet. It is not possible is there any monopole. Always magnetic monopole is there, always magnetic dipole is there. So they always in equal. In a closed surface, in a box, if you are taking some magnetic field, then result is zero. Third one is Faraday's law, as we have discussed earlier, how a magnetic field is interact with the electric circuit to produce electricity or electromotive force. And the last is Ampere's law. As we have discussed, Ampere law is having some limitation which is not working if electric flux is not constant. That is actually observed by Maxwell. So he has added one constant in this equation. So this is become a new equation given by Maxwell, but basic one is from Ampere only. So these all four equations are called Maxwell equations. Actually, whatever we have studied till now, Coulomb's law, Faraday's law, Ampere's law, Biot-Savart law, so they have combined all the laws by these four equations. Nowadays, we are using these four equations for electromagnetism. So these four equations, which is called Maxwell equation, are the heart of electromagnetism. Thermodynamics. It's also a physics. It's also a nature. Yes, we have studied about gravity, electricity, magnetism, electromagnetism. Now it's a thermodynamic. Thermodynamic in contrast to mechanics. In mechanics, the body is moving. We are observing the moving body, motion of the body. But here the body is not moving. Here it is concerned with the change in internal energy, temperature, entropy, etc. of the system through external work or transfer of heat. So some example of thermodynamics we are watching in daily use, like refrigerator, air conditioner, heat pump. They all are the example of thermodynamics. Optics. This is also a very important part of physics. Here we are not discussing about many scientists because we don't know the exact name, because it is developed in very early age when the lens was developed. Lens was developed by some ancient Egyptian by following some theory of philosopher, Greek philosopher theory. So they were also in very olden age. At that time, we don't know exact the name of that scientist who has actually developed. And also they were using this telescope for watching the stars and all. But this optics is very useful nowadays. Nowadays we are having very good quality telescope, microscope, and all the lenses what we are wearing, that spectacles, concave, convex. So this optics is having very important part in our life and also in the physics. Now I just want to summarize whatever we have discussed till now. This is coming under the classical physics. Classical physics is this mainly the macroscopic phenomena. It means it is not going in an atomic level. So whatever mechanics which is given by Newton's, that gravity law, electromagnetism, optics, thermodynamics, etc. is coming under the classical physics. Quantum physics. How quantum physics differ from classical physics? Quantum physics describes the properties of nature on an atomic scale, in a microscopic level, while in a classical physics is defined in a macroscopic level. Another major difference between classical physics and quantum physics is classical physics always tells the continuity. I mean, energy is changing continuously. The very good example of the classical physics is projectile motion. Motion is always continuous. But here we can see a figure of atom. In the center is nuclei, and electron is moving around that nuclei. So classical physics, it tells the electron is moving continuously from upper orbit to lower orbit. But Planck has told it is not so, because if it is continuously moving, then once it will come down to the nuclei and it will collapse, but it is not happening. So he has given a theory in which he told when electron has gained some amount of energy, then it jumps from lower orbit to upper orbit. And when electron is moving or releasing some amount of energy, then it's coming from upper orbit to lower orbit. And it jump, not its continuously movement is there. So Planck has given a theory of packet, that quantum. That's called quantum physics, which was proven by Einstein later. For that experiment only, Einstein has got the Nobel Prize. There are a number of applications of quantum theory. Subatomic particles, by which we can do the evaluation of universe, what is the size of universe, and some other things. Second is nuclear physics, which are using in medical uses, bomb, power, and also in agriculture. In place of pesticide, we can use some isotopes. Third is atoms and molecules. Atoms and molecules of material technology. We can now creating the new materials which are having very much strength and all. Fourth one is quantum optics, which is in fourth field, which is using in fourth field, quantum computing, laser, communications, and quantum cryptography. Just we are going some detail in this quantum optics. Quantum cryptography. The best known example of quantum cryptography is quantum key distribution. Here we can see the data is coming from one station to other station, and in this transformation of the data, it should be secure. It should not be readable by any one person in between. So that security is coming through the quantum cryptography. Nowadays, the security people are using a lot this cryptography. Second is laser. The laser light also coming this quantum theory, which is using in number of fields. In medical fields, we are using lot this. Now the operation, without cutting the operation, we can do this through this laser light. And third is quantum computing. Quantum computing is, in a classical computers, we were using bit which is 0 or 1. Either 0 you can use or 1. On qubit, in which we can use 0 and 1 together at a time. So by using qubit, the quantum computers can hold more information than classical computers and solve the problem faster and more efficiently. I want to tell you about some Indian physicists. C.V. Raman is one of Indian physicists who gave us Raman's effect. After which we get to know why sky looks blue, why ocean looks blue. Because red, orange, yellow, these are long wavelength light which are absorbed more strongly by water than is blue. Blue which is having short wavelength of light. So when white light from the sun enter the ocean, it is mostly the blue gets returned and other was absorbed by the ocean. Same reason for the sky looks blue. For this Raman effect, he was awarded with Nobel Prize in 1930. The next Indian physicist is Satyendra Nath Bose. He has discovered some elementary particles which are called boson particles after the name of Satyendra Nath Bose. Bose wrote a paper deriving Planck's quantum radiation law without any reference to classical physics by using a novel way of counting state with identical particles. That paper was not published here, but this same paper he has sent to Einstein, and Einstein has appreciated this paper, and after that Bose and Einstein worked together, and very important thing, Bose-Einstein condensate, which is a state of matter. This is called fifth state of matter that is discovered. When it is happening, when gas of boson at low density, it is cooled up to the temperature absolute zero, then its kinetic energy is approximately zero. This type of state is generated. So that is called boson particle. This boson particle's spin is in integer form. Recently, 8 years back in 2012, one experiment is done in the LHC, Large Hadron Collider, which is the world's largest and highest energy particle collider and the largest machine in the world. By this experiment, they have found the Higgs field exists. What is Higgs mechanism? Higgs mechanism to explain why particles are having the mass and which field is made with this Higgs boson particles. Recently it was a very big news, the Higgs boson particles, which are also called God's particles. So every particle having mass due to this Higgs field only. Electron, proton, atoms, everything is having the mass due to this Higgs field only. Actually, previously in 1964, one scientist called Higgs, he has discovered this Higgs field, but theoretically. And this Higgs field is made with the fundamental particles, or called elementary particles, Higgs boson, which are called God's particles. The name God's particle become more famous than Higgs boson. Now the next Indian scientist, Dr. Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, who has given us Chandrasekhar limit. He has discovered if the mass of a star become more than 1.4 times of sun, then it will not be a white dwarf. It will not looks like a star. So this limit is given by Chandrasekhar. By the name of Chandrasekhar, it is called Chandrasekhar limit, and he has got the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1983 by this discovery. So till now, whatever we have studied about the introduction of physics, we have seen a huge range of magnitude of physical quantities. We are taking the length. The minimum radius of the electron is 10 to power minus 14. This is the minimum length. And the maximum, the length of universe, which is in approximate in the range of 10 to power 26. So how much the scale factor? It is in the range of 10 to power 40, even more. Similarly, for the mass, the minimum mass, the mass of electron, which is 10 to power minus 30 kg, and maximum we can say what is the mass of universe. It is 10 to power 55 kg. Similarly, we can calculate the time, length scale divided by the speed of light, which is very huge range of the magnitude of physical quantities. Thank you very much for listening me. These are our great scientists who make our life very comfortable, who observe this nature only, and they have given so many theories and law by which we can use in number of applications and make our life very comfortable. We think like that these scientists are very boring, but no, they are also enjoying so much. They are also doing so much fun in their life. If you feel this subject, feel the physics, then you will start to enjoy this subject. So most important thing, why these are equation, they are writing like that, but we have to enjoy. If you start to enjoy and understand the subject, then you will not feel bored. Okay, thank you once again, and bye bye.